Hi guys, welcome back. I know it's been a while. I know my streams are uploaded, and it's been a while since I did Yu-Gi-Oh content. So my plan is to do kind of like a streak day here with all the decks I've had accumulated over the time I have been gone, and kind of show them off, show the combos, do deck lists, and so you guys can see what I'm playing and kind of have fun with it. Yu-Gi-Oh is in the best state it's in, so I think we should all like kind of be getting more into this game and having more fun with it. And yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh has just been a lot more fun with all the balancing and all the new stuff that's been coming out. Let me know your opinion in the comment section below and leave a like and subscribe. All right. So we are doing at Ignister, which is in my opinion, my favorite form of Cyber and Link deck because it is combo slop, but in like the funniest way possible. So first off, you want to start off with 3 Achichi. These guys are your starters, and what they do is when they are normal or special summon, you can add a level 4 or lower at Ignister monster. These guys are really good, but they're one of 2 starters that this deck runs in total, and Achichi is just a really good card to have. Most of the time, I prefer it over the other starter just because the other starter feels so much more jank to play. So Achichi is definitely a card you want to run 3 of in this deck. Then you want to run 3 Picari. Picari is your other starter, and what it does is if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 eye, spell, or trap from your deck to your hand. And this can choose stuff like Eye Whirl, I Meet You, stuff like that. But since you run so many copies of those, Picari becomes a little less needed. But Picari is also really good for getting the spells and traps out that you will need in the future. So definitely 3 Picari as well. Then you want to run 2 Doyon. These guys are what you search off of Meet You because they allow you to perform more combos, get you to the Arrival Cyber Seer, and will allow you to be able to link into your Dark Templar a lot easier. Doyon's just also a really good graveyard effect card, and Doyon's just awesome. I love his design. That's not a reason why you should pick Doyon, but Doyon is really good and should be a staple at 2. You can even run 3 if somewhere along the line in this deck list you think like some card shouldn't belong and you don't like it. Definitely a 3rd Doyon could work as well. Alright, then for the singles, 1 Baruru. Oh, sorry, the lighting's kind of blinding it. 1 Baruru, 1 Gachiri, 1 Donmari, and 1 Hiyari. The Hiyari and Baruru are ones that you don't really want to pull into, but you would in the future want to need when you start to link summon. So these 2 are really good. And then you have your Gachari and your Donmari, which are like graveyard protection effects, which is really good as well. And you'll be able to get them into the grave pretty easily with, I think, Baruru's effects, and which I'll show you that later. Then we're going to go into the hand traps before we hit the spells and traps. For the hand traps, we're running 3 Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Ghost Bell, 2 Nibiru, and 2 Droll and Lockbird. A lot of hand traps, as you can see. The Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwoods you don't have to run. I personally run those because my goat, the Kali effect, runs them in some decks, and I think they make a lot of sense. Then the Ash Blossom, because Ash Blossom's busted, thank God they semi-limited Ash. Then 2 Ghost Bells, 2 Nibs, and 2 Droll and Lockbirds, creating this really nice balance of hand traps where you don't have to run into them all the time, but you have a really elevated chance of running into these strong staple cards. So I would definitely make sure you run kind of equivalent amounts. You don't have to run, like I said, you don't have to run Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood if you don't want to and you want to run something else. Then for now we get into the spells and traps. 2 Lightning Storm, because secondary effects that can swipe the board if you need it. Harpy's Feather Duster as just pure spell, so like kind of like a 3rd Lightning Storm in a sense. 1 Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator is just a really good quick play spell that can take care of a lot of the hand traps going off and can give you more time to play and combo off of. 1 Evenly Matched. Evenly Matched is an insane spell or trap. Insane trap card, I should say, as it can balance out your field if you're going second. This deck leans kind of towards going second, but it definitely has the power to go first. These are just cards for going second just in case if something happens. And then 1 Terraforming, where you can add stuff like Ignister Island from your deck to your hand. So all these spells and traps here are not engine, but rather like helpful boostive cards that can keep you in the game for longer in this very fast-paced game. Then Then for the Ignisters, we were running 3 Meet Yous because Ignister Meet You is an insane card because it allows you to get into more of your engine and will allow you to get stuff like your Doyons that you need for the Link summoning to create that variation when you get to Cybers. So the 3 Meet Yous are 100% necessary because if you can't get it with Bakari, then you have to have it with the Chi-Chi. It's insanely needed. Then we have 2 Ignister Islands. You don't want to run into these a lot because you're going to use them off of your Dark Infants to be able to get these. And so you don't want to have them in your hand because if you have them in your hand, it's not necessarily a bad thing, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad thing to have them in your hand, but because you're getting them with Templar, you wouldn't want them in your hand because it limits you in a certain way that doesn't feel nice because you have one in your hand, you have one in your deck. If something happens to your hand one and your deck one is now gone and off the field, you don't have this really crucial spell. Then for the singles for Ignister, Idle Reborn, Fighting Spirit, and Contact. Contact is your insurance card if you do get another island in your hand. If you get the double island, Contact is your insurance policy for that. Then these 2 are monster reborns pretty much for your Ignister cards that are really insane. And so these are all just really good like insurance policies just in case if something goes awry in your plans. And then your 3 other obvious Cybers support cards, Signet Minings, where you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard and add 1 level 4 or lower Cybers monster from your deck to your hand. These cards are insane, obviously, because if you don't pull any starters, but you pull this, you can easily get to your starters. So I would definitely recommend running 3 Signet Mining. Alright, to get into the extra deck, we're going to speed through this. We have 1 The Arrival Cybers at Ignister, 1 Wind Pegasus at Ignister, 1 Update Jammer, 1 Cybers Wicked, 2 Dark Infant, 1 Link Spider, 1 Firewall Dragon, 2 Splash Mages, 1 Decode Talker Heat Soul, 1 Dark Templar, 1 Transcode Talker, 1 G Golden Crystal Heart, and then finally the Access Toad Talker. A lot of these cards, as you will probably know, are ones that can bring back your Link monsters from the graveyard or give you more power. The Arrival Cybers at Ignister is your boss monster and is the one you want to be summoning 9 times out of 10 as your field like main big boss. But you also have stuff like Access Toad Talker and Firewall Dragon that you can kind of backpedal yourself on just in case if the Arrival play doesn't work, which sometimes it will. So having these insurance policies of the Firewall and the Access Code and all these monsters are really helpful with keeping you in the game. Alright, so now we're going to get into the side deck where we are running 1 Ghost Spell, 3 Effect Veilers, 1 D-Shifter, 3 Book of Eclipse, 3 Dark Ruler No Mores, and an Ultimate Slayer, a Runic Golden Droplet, a Raigeki, and a Destructive Daruma Cannon. All good cards for going second, all really defensive cards. For Cybers, you normally want to be going first, but in the deck itself, it already has a lot of good going second cards. But here in the side deck, if you need to secrete a going second play, this is what you would probably want to run. Alright, now we're going to get into some of the combos that this deck can do. So normally you want to start with a Chi-Chi, and then we're not going to do like a full hand, because a Chi-Chi, you can just do this whole thing with the Chi-Chi, no doubt in my mind. So you want to normal a Chi-Chi, add Pakari from deck to hand, then you want to link off a Chi-Chi into the Dark Infant. Sorry, that might be a little high, let me pull that down. Dark Infant, which on Special Summon will allow you to add an Ignister Island, which you will activate, Ignister Island. And Island's effect, it allows you to normal/special summon at Ignister monster that has a different type that has not been normal summoned, and if your main monster zones are free. So you are able to normal summon Pakari. It's special summon. I'm correcting myself. It is special summon, not normal. And if it is normal summon, you can add an Ice Spell or Trap. And like I said earlier, you want to be adding I Meet You. Then you want to activate Meet You, revealing Dark Templar, And normally what I like to do is if there's like a reveal card from like Meet You, I like to kind of put it at the top face up because it's just good for tracking. And then when you activate Meet You, you want to add Doyon. Then you want to link these two off into the Cyberse Wicked, where you'll use Cyberse Wicked's effect to send Infant to the graveyard. But after you special summon Doyon from your hand with the effect of Island into a zone it points to, a lot of these card effects require them to be in the zones they point to. So if you miss that opportunity, you're kind of screwed. Because once you summon Doyon from this effect and you miss the Wicked timing, then you can't do a lot. And then you can target one. You normally want to add the card with Doyon that you didn't special summon first to the main monsters and using Island. So you want to add a Chi-Chi. And then you want to use Wicked's effect now to banish Infant to add one Cyberse Tuner from the deck to the hand. We're going to add Baruru. We're then going to link these two off into Transcode Talker. And so Transcode Talker, we can use its effect to special summon a Cyberse Link monster from the extra deck to the field to his own points to, but we're not going to do that yet. So then we can special summon Baruru. And if it is special summon, you can send one at Ignister monster from your deck to the graveyard. And this is where you make the choice between Don Mari at Ignister and Gachiri. I normally like doing Don Mari, so we're going to send Don Mari to the graveyard. And then we're going to use Transcode Talker's effect to special summon Cyberse Wicked to the zone it points to. And then we're going to use these three to make that Dark Templar that I mentioned earlier. Then we're going to use Island to put a Chi-Chi here. Now, this is going to be dependent on what zone you do. So you want to link off this Chi-Chi into your Dark Infant, where it's pointing to, it's a little lower for you guys so you can kind of see easier, but it is pointing. And then you want to do Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. Infant will move over a zone. And so, since we didn't put a Chi-Chi into a Dark Templar zone, because if your Chi-Chi was special summoned there, then Dark Templar would have to special summon into only these two. But because of Dark Infant's ability where it can shift a zone over and also change its typing to Divine, we would prefer that. So how it would work here is you'd want, if Templar here, you'd probably want Infant here, shift over. And so then when Dark Templar is special summoned, you want to special summon out Baruru, Pakari, and then a Chi-Chi. Because you don't want to do Doyon because you already have the Dark Monster. Then you're going to link these, you're going to synchro these two off into Wing Pegasus at Ignister. Because this one has a graveyard effect, and if you're going second, this has an effect on special summon. Then you want to link these four off into your Arrival Cyberse, which will be a 4K body that can't be affected by spell or trap effects, and it has the option to pop a monster on the field, special summon token to your side, which can open up many play opportunities, especially if you're going second. Like I said, this deck can go second really well, but it can also go first equally as well. So that is the deck review for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. I am hopefully going to be back tomorrow as well to make a video. And yeah, let me know in the comments if there's any tips you would want to leave for anyone that's played at Ignister before, or some general niche knowledge about this deck that someone wouldn't know. If there's anything, any comments or feedback that you want to give me as I'm coming back, please let me know as well, and have a good rest of your day. Peace out.